What is up, my guys, and welcome back to the channel known as s.w.o.r.d. As always, I'm your most endearing host, Daniel. And today, well, as you can tell, we're going to be talking about WandaVision episode 6. But as always, before we get into the episode, gotta get that YouTuber stuff out of the way. So as always, if you guys like my stuff, you already know what to do. If you guys dislike my stuff, you already know what to do. Questions, comments, concerns, you already know what to do with them. And as always, links to everything else, Twitch, Discord, and Instagram are going to be all in the description below. So let's get into it. WandaVision episode 6. Holy shit, are things going crazy in this episode, in this series actually. Like, god damn. Like, okay, quick rundown. Episode takes place during Halloween, and we see Wanda's dressed in her traditional Scarlet Witch costume, but she calls it a Sokovian fortune teller. Vision is dressed like how he did in the 90s. Not Chris, my bad. Evan Peters is still Quicksilver, but the thing is though, like, throughout the episode we're led to believe that this is actually Quicksilver that died in the MCU. So I don't know what that means for the whole, why he looks like Evan Peters and why he doesn't look like Aaron Taylor. Sorry if I didn't mention his name in the past video. I was just kind of overwhelmed by the fact that he showed up in WandaVision. So yeah, Aaron Taylor was actually Quicksilver in Age of Ultron. So there's that. So yeah, the episode takes place during Halloween, like I said before, and we see a whole, like, not really a shift in tone really, because Wanda's still trying to make it seem like, yeah, everything's fine, everything's normal for this. Like, yeah, sure, the occasional weird stuff that has happened, but I mean, it's Scarlet Witch. I know what I'm doing, so yeah. But the thing is, though, like, Vision and Wanda kind of have a conversation where Vision goes out, says he's gonna be quote unquote on what's it called? I'm forgetting it. Why am I forgetting this? Neighborhood Watch. There we go. Neighborhood Watch. He's going on Neighborhood Watch patrol. And at first, Wanda's like, "Wait, what? What do you mean? You're supposed to be with your kids right now? Like, the whole point of Halloween is to spend time with your kids and everything." And Vision's like, no, I gotta do this. I made a promise to the Neighborhood Watch that I do patrol right now. And Quicksilver's just basically like, yeah, no, let him go. I'll take care of the kids with you. And he asks the kids, hey, kids, you want your Uncle Pietro to take you out trick-or-treating? And they're like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, they really don't care. They just want to go out getting candy and everything like that. Wanda reluctantly says, okay, we'll be safe. And Vision goes, Wanda, be good. Like, you know that he hasn't fully forgotten what happened in the last episode, but he's pretending like he's okay with it. So yeah, that happens. Vision goes out to do his thing. Wanda goes out to do her thing. And S.w.o.r.d. on the outside are trying to figure out what exactly is going on with this. And we see the director of S.w.o.r.d. and Monica Rambeau kind of have a little tiff, or not tiff, like a little back and forth, saying like, come on, is either Wanda a terrorist or is she actually a victim in and of herself? Monica Rambeau obviously claims to be a victim, and of course the director says no, she's a terrorist, she needs to be stopped. And then it gets to the point where the director brings up Monica's mom, who died during the events of the 5-year gap that happened when Thanos snapped his fingers. And he says something along the lines like, I'm glad you weren't here for when your mom died. She would have realized you didn't have the stomach for this job. And that's just a low blow, really. Like, come on, man. You can't put that on her. It's not her fault she got snapped out of existence. But I mean, I guess it makes sense from where he's coming from, because he goes on to say, like, you know how hard it was when the snap actually happened, how many people we lost, and what it took to actually keep people from going crazy and everything like that. And I mean, yeah, like, the whole thing with the MCU movies, they don't really go into detail as to what happened during the events of the snap, in a sense. And God, do I hate that name, the snap and the blip. So just bad names. They could come up with something better. But anyways, yeah. So I get it. Like, people had to go through some hardships during that event, that 5-year gap. And it's said a little bit in Endgame, like, yeah, everything's not really what it should be. People are still going through hardships even after 5 years of it, but they never really went into detail. What this show is trying to do is, like, show us, like, yeah, it was hard and it still continues to be hard even if everyone is back. Because at this point you have two different ideologies that are clashing together. One that's completely given up on superheroes because they failed to save half the universe from being disappeared or being vanished from reality, and you have the other half who did vanish from reality but still has that high standard that heroes actually can do good, they can't do any wrong, and if they do wrong, it's because something's wrong with them internally. Like, yeah, like, something's wrong with them, like someone's like manipulating them from the inside to force them to do something like this, that internal struggle. Well, no, that's not the case. Well, that's kind of the case, really. Like, it's not really an internal struggle for Wanda, it's a grieving process. And I think Monica Rambeau is starting to see that, yeah, she's going through something and she needs help. She needs someone to talk to, in a sense, to help her through the whole process, because at this point no one's really, like, talked to her about it, because well, she's been gone for the past 5 years. She has no idea of how to actually deal with these emotions, really. And so yeah, that happens, and it all leads up to the big climax of this episode. It starts off with Peter, Pietro Maximoff, Peter. I'm calling him Peter right now, asking her like, "So where did all these kids come from? Where have you been hiding them?" And Wanda's like, "What? What are you talking about? These kids have been here this whole time." And he's just like, "What do you mean? No, it's only been you and your family so far that's actually been showing up. Like, I get it. Like, you want to keep the whole charade going. Like, oh yeah, the kids were all asleep in their beds and everything like that. Like, something's up with Peter. Like, it may be Quicksilver, but it's actually not Quicksilver really. So it could be tying into, maybe it's Mephisto, maybe it's Nightmare, the demon Nightmare. Like, it could be like, we won't really know until it actually happens and it all comes together. But there's always gonna be theories out there. I'm sticking with the fact that maybe it's Mephisto. Speaking of which, Agnes does make an appearance. I thought she wasn't gonna make an appearance in this episode, but she does. And I know I said before, like, she's immune to Wanda's powers, but she's not. She's not immune, like, because we see Vision and Agnes interact, and she's under Wanda's influence really. And so yeah, like, we see that she's actually a trapped person like everyone else, but she, for some reason, before she was able to, I don't know, walk freely, break the fourth wall in a sense of the quote unquote sitcom that Wanda created. But honestly, if we're wholeheartedly believing in the whole Mephisto theory, is that Mephisto is actually not Agnes, but in fact her husband Ralph in a sense, and Mephisto is actually controlling person individually depending on the situation really. Because in this episode, it's not Agnes that breaks the fourth wall and asks Wanda if she wants to do a quote unquote retake again. It's another neighbor really. I'm forgetting his name really, but it's like he says something on the lines like, "Are you okay, Wanda? Is there something I could change for you?" Like, literally looking in her eyes and saying like, "Is there something I could change?" Like, someone's working behind the scenes and Wanda's not really doing everything on her own. Like, she even says like she doesn't know how she made the hex in a sense. Like, so it could be Mephisto, it could be Nightmare. I'm hoping on Mephisto because that's an interesting character. Plus it could also tie back into Far From Home's ending where people find out who Peter Parker actually is and he's Spider-Man. So that could work because it's going to lead into whole I can't believe I'm saying this, one more day, and that I hate that really. So yeah, that could tie into one more day and Mephisto. So here's hoping that the Mephisto thing actually works through. And so yeah, that happens. And the whole climax of this, going back to it, is we see either Billy or Tommy awakening his powers, and it's kind of like, I want to say, spatial awareness or something like that, where you see him like seeing Vision almost dying, because at this point Vision actually found the edge of the barrier hex and started walking through it. But since he's dead, the hex tries to pull him back in, but is doing so in a sense killing him really. And like, you see all his body parts being ripped apart to shreds. Ironically, his head is still intact. Like, the one part is actually gone in real life. It's still intact. It's all the other pieces that are coming off that starts with. And he's just saying, help the people in here. They need your help, to the S.w.o.r.d agents that are there. And as this is going on, the kids tell Wanda that, yeah, dad's gonna die. And then Peter goes on the line and says, "Ha, what are you kidding? What are you thinking? Your dead husband can't die twice, right?" That sets Wanda off really. She flings him across, and she condenses all the power back in herself. Everyone in Westview freezes for a second, and as she's condensing the power, she literally expands the hex to entrap Vision again. Well, not really entrap, but to quote unquote save Vision. And as she's doing this, new people are getting sucked into the hex. Darcy gets sucked in because she's handcuffed to a car. All the agents get sucked in. All their equipment gets sucked in too. Literally Monica and Wu don't get sucked in because they had a plan to take like a different car or something like that to get back into the hex to help Wanda. So they're safe. The director barely makes it out in time, and he's barely safe, which is kind of like, come on, like, you gotta have him be in the hex, like, have him have a taste of what's actually going on inside of the hex and everything like that. But that might be in the next episode. So yeah, that happens, and the episode ends there. Like, it literally ends with her showing that she could expand the hex if she wanted to. But the thing is, though, her power isn't really as indefinite as we're led to believe. There is an extent to how much she can control within the Westview, because throughout the episode, we're going back to Vision's little side quest and him trying to find out what's actually going on. We see the extent of Wanda's power, and you see that some of these people aren't actually acting normal in a sense. Like, yeah, sure, if they're close to Wanda, they're gonna act like they have free will. They're gonna act like normal people. But the farther they are from Wanda, the less control she has over them, and the more, in a sense, like, they're like just there in a sense, like they're just like they're not moving, they're not breathing, and they're just there, and and that happens. So really, the farther you are away from the hex, the less control Wanda has over you, but the less you control you have over yourself, and you're just there. You're kind of like just a background character, an NPC. Like you're just code basically. You're just a line of code, but you're not activated. So yeah, that could play a role in the future episodes to try to find a way to stop Wanda in a sense. Like, so yeah, that happened. So that's a quick rundown of what happened in WandaVision episode 6, and I'm very excited to see what's gonna happen in episode 7 through 9, because this series is only going for 9 episodes or so. So they got a lot of stuff to pack in those 3 episodes. So here's hoping they can do it well and they don't go to a complete train wreck. So, yep. As always, guys, if you guys liked it, you know what to do. Questions, concerns, as again, you already know what to do. And again, to repeat myself, as always, links to everything else will be in the description below. And like, yeah, I hope you guys are excited for this as much as I am. And I'll come back next week for episode 7. All right, see you guys.